It's Blasters Dashing episode 166. And already we have Double S. He's waiting in anticipation, guys. So we're going to go and get started with it. But if this is the first time catching our show, what we do is we pick up the books that come out the week. We give them a read. We blast it or we stash it. So with that, we got Joe with us tonight. Mike may be on. We're not sure where Mike is. I know his schedule got changed too at work. So he's been kind of missing it. And Drew's over there at the auction tonight, supporting Paul's daughter. And, of course, Paul's got a whole bunch of personal stuff going on as well. So we're going to go and jump into the books this week. We'll start with you, Joe. What do you want? What do you want to go with first?
Oh, man. Let me go ahead and get my pick of the week out. Well, I don't know if it's my pick of the week. I haven't decided on that yet. But let's go ahead and talk about it anyway. Punisher Kill Crew. Dude, this is great stuff. This is one of those comic books where you know it's going to end in the next one or two issues, right? But you don't want it to. It's one of those ones, like in most comic book runs, you always get that boring story in it. You don't get that in this. Legitimately, this thing is action-packed and nonstop. And it's funny, and it's purposely funny. It does references that not maybe everybody's going to get, but a lot of people should get. In this particular issue, they take off to, of course, battle the invasion, if you will, from War of the Realms. They're going back and killing everybody. It takes them to nowhere. They beat up a monster. We'll just call it a monster. I don't know. I'm not even trying to pronounce this thing. And they decide that they're hungry, so they eat him. That was awesome. And a classic barroom fight. More of the monsters. This thing is just jam-packed of just killing monsters. And then they get to the one that Punisher has a personal relationship with during War of the Realms and wants to battle him. And it was a blue giant. Anyway, they break through his little magical fortress thing, and we get this beautiful panel right here. There's the reference to The Shining. I thought that was just great, especially the time to die. But our hero actually gets defeated in this because apparently elf giants have bazookas. I thought that was a little weird, but I'm going to go with it. They pick him up, and they're basically going to go ahead and cook him. And Froggy has to take off and go get help. But we are left off with the last panel with him taking off with the ram that's pulling the van. Every time I say that, it sounds like it should be stupid. But they're taking off, and he's like screaming. So where is he going? Is he running away from the fight? We don't know, but I'm going to tell you right now, if you just like stupid comic book fun, Punisher Kill Crew's where to go. And you know what? I've made up my mind. It is my pick of the week. This is just awesome, great stuff.
Yeah, this has been great. You know, I saw that panel on Instagram. You posted that, and I'm like, oh, and you know, this has not been on my pull list either. This is one I've been just grabbing because I forgot to put it on my pull list, and I had to go to. I took a little break off of lunch. I had to go to another town. I'm like, where can I hide my work vehicle so I can run to this comic store to go get Punisher Kill Crew? And I was able to hide behind a big motorhome, ran in there real quick and picked up my Punisher Kill Crew and got out of there. But yeah, this has been awesome. That whole panel with his face sticking in there is great. He's talking about a little bit before too. He's talking about that one with the skull on it. The skull is dead and in hell. And then it talks about later too when he sticks his head in there. I love that when a guy screams "Skull Man,"
Skull Man. Yeah, I totally left that out. The Giants actually started off scared of Punisher, which was amazing. Yeah.
So this has been great. Now, is this a different artist in here, or is it the same artist?
You know, I got to go back and look at the other issues. I've been so busy, I haven't had a chance. But I'm gonna say it's the same artist, but I'm saying he's taking a different technique.
Maybe because Foggy looks a little different.
Yeah, it looked different, but it wasn't too far out of the way that it could be weird.
Yeah, this has been great. And now we have one more issue, and it's done. Yeah, hopefully I might get another spinoff on there too. It was nice to see the Black Knight actually jump in and help, because at the end of the last issue, there's supposed to be a big fight, or he thought they're there to actually attack him. So we get that cool little thing there, and actually save him. The Ram ends up destroying that dark elf. So, and then he gets him the stack of pictures that the kids drew, and he's like, see his eyes get wide, and they're like, oh, wait a minute, okay.
Yeah, you kind of can't tell kids no.
Yeah. So this has been continuing to be great and fun and funny and gory and bloody and violent, and it's just been this overall a great title. So.
Yeah. Real quick before we move any further, just for everybody out there, if you don't know, Midwest comic guy, unfortunately, his little girl, Moral, has had open heart surgery. She's had a little bit of an emergency, and there is currently a GoFundMe page, so that will probably pop up in the chat at some point tonight. If you feel like giving, charity's boundless. I truly believe that. So if it's something you want to do, definitely take a second and just kind of look over it. And if that's something that you're interested in, please give what you can. And that would be great, because we know that these kind of medical expenses can really kind of pile up. So any help that you can give, I'm sure that will be great. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll end up getting that in there at some point here. I'll have to look it up and then post it in there.
I'll find it. I got you covered.
What's that?
I got you covered. I'll find it.
Got me covered. Okay. So I want to talk about let's talk about this book. Just the name alone really kind of gives it away on potentially what this book is about, and that is Money Shot. By
are you allowed to talk about that on YouTube?
I don't know. Who is the publisher on this? This was funky. This is by Vault Comics. So here it says, 2027 advanced alien civilization made contact. People of Earth discovered they were not alone. An offer to join the civilized universe was made. Aliens saw it was a total shit show, Earth was. Engaged in hundreds of war led by greedy politicians, fumbling to advanced technology. Humanity was deemed not worth the effort. The offer was withdrawn. Unable to build spaceships capable of efficient interstellar travel and distracted by petty bickering and pop entertainment, humans eventually lost interest in the stars. So essentially, these scientists, they have this shit that's able to go up, but nobody's really taking them seriously. So they're thinking, how can we use this technology to make money? And so they decide that they're going to go have sex with any capable alien being that's in the stars. So when the first splash page on here, I was like, it's not nudity, but still, that's just a whole lot of, hello. So these scientists, they have all their own poor names and stuff like that. They go through a little backstory talking about where they came from, what their specialties are. And then it goes on a little bit further into their first live showing, and they realize it's only like 6.5 out of 10, and they're trying to figure out what can we do to make our shows better. Just a whole lot of gratuitous sex, no nudity. There's not nudity in it at all, but there's definitely implied stuff. That's about as implied as you can get right there, but if you like bestiality, I think you'll like this book.
Not a particular fan.
Because essentially that's what it is. They're going around and having sex with aliens that have compatible sexual organs. Essentially, like this fish dude that this woman's having sex with, like they're done. They're like, okay, done. Sorry, see you later. Here's your payment. Get the hell out of here. That's what how they treat him. He's like, but they're looking for the better audience rating. They're trying to get famous by having sex with aliens. It's an interesting concept. Is it something that I'm going to continue to pick up on? maybe just for the shock value of it and kind of see how far they're willing to push this book. Is it an intellectual book? No, it's definitely not an intellectual book. Did you get the Fantastic Four variant cover of Money Shot, Huey? No, I did not. I'm sorry. It's a stash just for the humor of it and the uniqueness of it. It's not something that I haven't, read before. So I'm sure maybe the other stories out there similar, but it is what it is. It's definitely not. It's definitely a mature comic, that's for sure. Not something I'm going to let my kids take a look at.
Probably a good idea.
Yeah, no, yeah. So Money Shots off there. Kill Crew. You're up with yours.
I got to say words now.
Words. We got double S in here. We got 6 people watching, but only 1 person commenting.
That's fine. No, whatever makes people happy, man.
Of course, again, we're going up against the auction right now.
We are going against the auction, and that's more than fine. That needs to happen. Totally get it. Oh, let's blast something. Well, yeah, let's talk about this garbage. All right, the Amazing Mary Jane.
Oh, garbage. Oh, yes.
Now, mind you, this is a 1 in 50 variant right here. And I know somebody's going to say, who's the artist? I don't know. Once I read the story, I realized I really don't care. So this is horrible. This is so bad. It's not how I would ever imagine Mary Jane. I said it. There it is. I'm sticking by it. So if you don't know, Mary Jane went off to Hollywood to be in a movie from some well-known director or whatever. It doesn't matter. Whatever entices a young lady to be in a movie. Come to find out, it's Mysterio, right? It's Mysterio, and Mysterio is making a movie about how Mysterio and Mary Jane are actually lovers, and she's all dressed in scantily clad clothing, and it's very obvious. I'm just going to say that. It's obvious what they're going with here. And then Mary Jane decides to have a talk with the director and basically rewrites the entire movie, from what I get. And apparently the Sinister Six has a problem because they're being portrayed in the movie. Go figure. I'm not sure what this is. It's dumb. I'll say it. I was going to try to be nice, but it's just a dumb, extremely predictable story. You don't need the comic book. All you had to do was look at the trade dress cover, and you would be like, "Yep," and said the exact same thing I did. So, boo, boo, go away.
Yeah.
Hey, if anybody wants a 1 in 50 variant of a great comic book, I'll sell it to you.
The only reason I picked this up was the art germ cover on this one. They had a virgin one as well, but that was like 1 in whatever it was, and I'm not going to pay that much money for an art germ for a comic book that I knew that was going to be garbage. I mean, it's a great art germ cover on that. There was a hidden variant, what they call that. This is in it's in chalk here because the other one actually has the title thing. So this was like a 1 in 10, I think, was a mystery. So this was going for $12, I think, right around there. What a horrible freaking story! God,
and the bad thing is, they could have done something really cool with this, especially with a character like Mary Jane. She's very personable. She's sensual. She's a caring person. She's through extraordinary circumstances. So, I want to be clear that it's not just because the book's about Mary Jane and I'm a woman-hating guy. Like, they have a great opportunity to take a character here and do something really cool with it. Instead, they made her shallow and bossy. And it was just like, you had it. And yet it just threw the wind.
Yeah. Who's the writer on this? It was just it was difficult to get through. It was so hard to read and go through, and oh my god, it was just a chore. And then we get the whole Mysterio thing. It's ridiculous. And some of the art is questionable too in here.
Yeah.
Trying to see who the writer was. I hate when they don't put it up on the very front of the book. That drives me nuts. Oh well. Well, there's a cool ad for Ranger's Apprentice. I might want to go pick up that book. I remember reading that book as a kid.
Yeah.
But yeah, what a garbage book. Absolute garbage. The only reason to pick that up would be a cover buy, and that would be it. So,
yeah.
Oh, Amazing Mary Jane. Why do you disappoint me? Okay, let's talk about the Marauders.
Ooh, yeah. Let's talk about Marauders.
Or I say Harriet Tubman of the X-Men universe.
Well, let's see if we agree to disagree.
So we find out. So all these mutants are going to Crokea now, and we find out that Kitty Pryde can't get in. She tries to walk right in the freaking wall, bust her nose open. Then she realizes she just can't get in. She's hanging out outside Crokea. She's bringing stuff into Wolverine. He's got a keg and was it a box of cigars or something? And he's running back into Crokea like he's having a big old party in there. And she feels like she's kind of missing out. But then we have the White Queen wanting her to essentially take this over the ship to be able to bring supplies and do other stuff. And then we find out that there are other places where these portals are to get into Crokea. The people are out there essentially not letting mutants in. They're stopping them before they get in, attempting to kill them, and all this stuff. So she's actually been going around and helping people get into Crokea. So that's why I say it's kind of like the Harriet Tubman of the X-Men universe, because that's what she's doing. She's bulky. We're going to help these people sneak through and get into Crokea, get to a safe zone. There's a little more to it than that, I think, but this has been pretty good. I'm kind of glad I picked this up. I was going to pass on it, but it was actually a pretty good story. I enjoyed it quite a bit. We got a new team of we got Kitty Pryde, we got Storm, we got Iceman, we got Pyro, and they're the Marauders, and they're just sailing a ship and going to help mutants and stuff like that. So it was actually a pretty good book. So it's a stash for me.
This is another one where I had to pick up one of the odd variants for it. This is a 1 in 25 variant right there with Emma Frost on the front.
That's actually kind of a cool cover.
It is a very cool cover. Very sensual. I liked this, and I've been enjoying House of X, Powers of X. Is this going to be a long-term read for me? Probably not. Interesting about this. Hold on here. Let's hit the chat room real quick here because there's been a lot being said, and I don't want anybody to think that we're missing them. So we got Double S. I'm starting to do a Joey ritual right now, getting a pint glass and pouring beer. All right, buddy. Let's see here. Huey loves to show his money shot. That's awesome. Did you want to read Fantastic Four cover for Money Shot? That's horrible. Caffeinated Comics finally joined us. I'm visiting some friends before they move across country, but I just wanted to pop in and say hi. Thank you, buddy, for saying hi. We were actually asking about you before the show even started if you were going to be coming in. So yeah, definitely thanks for stopping by. So I liked this book because I do this sometimes and I shouldn't, right? Because it means I overthink things. So I read a comic book and then I set it down and I ask myself questions about the comic book to kind of go through it. And I was like, okay, what is this trying to tell me? We already know that Power of X deals with power within a nation, right? And we know that House of X deals with the formation of it, right? Economies, military, who's in charge of what. And then X-Men #1 kind of gave us the family organization of it. So what is this trying to tell me right here? And basically, I started thinking about all the various countries I've been to while I was in the Army. Usually they're in the worst situation or they're just starting all over again. And there's only one real type of commerce that actually happens in these countries, and it's black market. It's all black market trading. We were talking right before the show about black market movies, right?
Yep, that's right. Yeah.
Very common thing. So we kind of have some of that going on right now. Krakoa, their citizens need things that are in other countries right now that the island just can't produce, right? It can't make it. Like you saw Wolverine just fiend out over some whiskey and some liquor. Right? He's diving out there and getting it, which is cool. Also, what happens generally in black market trade as it moves across borders, they get very good at smuggling stuff, is people's often moved as well. So I was like, okay, that makes sense. All right, so let's take a note on that. All right, so what is this thing really trying to do? And then I kind of found the fault in it. The problem with Krakoa is, yeah, people can't just go there because the militaries are stopping them. But the truth is, Krakoa has no right to have a border on any country whatsoever if it's not paired to it. But nations are sovereign. They can welcome anybody from coming and going as they wish. Think of it this way. I damn sure don't want to get political about this, but let's say there's, for some ungodly reason, the federal government says, you know what, we got some bad stuff going on right now, shut down the airports for your safety. They shut down the airports. Everybody can scream that I should be able to leave, but no, that's not a constitutional right by no means whatsoever. So, does Krakoa actually have the right to just set up random borders in various countries without the country agreeing to it? No, they don't have that. So, I don't know. Now, of course, it's hiding it under the guise of people want to come here and you're not letting them, right? So we're doing the humane thing or the right thing. I've made this argument before. House of X, Powers of X, whenever they started this whole run, it was very brown shirt tactics. It's very reminiscent of countries when they first start off. They need a little bit more control, like they almost a little bit of dictatorship, some wheeling and dealing in the background, some black market that they know is going on to kind of help stabilize the country to some degree. Another example of this, of course, is right here in the U.S. Black marketing in the U.S. was a very, very common practice to avoid taxes. You know, you smuggled booze, you smuggled tea, you smuggled all kinds of things into the U.S. So I like it for that aspect. Hickman didn't write this? Who wrote this?
This was Gary Duggan.
Duggan did a great job of basically, I don't want to say piggyback because it makes it sound like he's not being original, but he's pairing very good with Hickman in this and the creation of a new country to some degree being accurate. And I've talked way too long on this book, but definitely a stash. I like this one. I don't know how far I'll take this, but for right now, it's a stash.
Yeah, so same writer that did Punisher Kill Crew.
Yeah.
So then we're going to take a little bit longer on this. I'm going to ask your opinion on this. So you talked about a country being sovereign. So why? I mean, maybe they're going to the extreme here, but wouldn't it make sense to have some kind of military presence or security presence at these gates to make sure that nobody's coming through that's going to cause harm to that country?
Yeah, that'd be a very common practice. Yeah, if we don't recognize you as a country, you have no right to be here. Right, that any country in the world can set that up anytime they want, and they do. Look at North Korea. Right now, we know North Korea is bad, but they are a sovereign nation. They can make that rule, and we have to respect it. Mm-hmm. So yeah, if I don't want you in my country, you don't get to make up a shortcut for it. Now, we always know that there will be some sort of black market or anything along those lines, and we try to shut that stuff down. But a blatant, like this is just a blatant, hey, this is a shortcut to our country. And by the way, we can pretty much come into your country anytime we want. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, because it shows Iceman going into Russia, getting that portal. Looks like on a port there. And it's I'm Iceman from Krakoa, just looking around for my fellow mutants. Where are we exactly? Wow, can you smell the vodka in the air, huh? You know, and I guess really any kind of border patrol is just going to automatically question, why are you here?
Yeah.
Why are you in our country?
Well, why are you just showing up here? Now, I know a lot of people want to get into our own issues
mm-hmm.
and kind of placate to the comic book in some way, shape, or form. But legitimately, if there was just a reason for superpowered beings to be able to land anywhere in the United States and pretty much do whatever they want, because we already saw back in the House of X where they thought that diplomatic immunity was okay for murder, which it's not. It gets a little weird. So I kind of want to see this either do one of two things. Realize that this entire thing is just going to go on a slope, and then they kind of hero up a little bit and start acting like other countries, or they kind of keep this in and out of, we're going to do something wrong, but it's going to be for the right reason, because that's always good reading. People play into that all the time. So that would be interesting.
Well, according to Lethal Weapon 2, diplomatic immunity does save everybody from diplomatic immunity.
For that, and they shot him anyway, so it still didn't work out.
Yeah, that was it. It's just been revoked. Yeah, that's what Murtaugh says. It shoots you between the eyes. Sorry. My movie. Okay, well, you're actually up. I talked about Marauders first, so you're up with your next book.
Let's talk about. I don't know. I don't know what to talk about. Ooh, let's. If we're gonna get deep about books tonight, let's get deep about books.
Okay.
I want to talk about Black Adam, Year of the Villain.
Okay.
Talking about countries and intrinsic and instrumental value of a nation. This did it too, and this is on the other side of the house with DC. So if you don't know, we had the Shazam that smiles, I guess is what we're calling him. Shazam that laughs, whatever, the infected Shazam. He decides he's going to go pick a fight with Black Adam. Black Adam's been running a country now for God knows how long, since his last storyline. We'll put it that way. And it's a Middle Eastern country, and it's got issues. Surprise, just like every single one out there. Now, Billy Batson, being a young man trapped in a man-sized body, travels over there to free the people, right? But what he doesn't realize is everything he mentions about what freedom is nothing more than curb appeal, where the actual foundation of the country that Black Adam's running is based off of faith and community, which is the strong foundation of it. Like Billy Batson's talking about, you don't have skyscrapers. Let's get rid of the potholes. Let's get rid of this. And then we find the most amazing thing in there. Now, I'm not a big pusher of religion or anything like that. I do believe everybody should have some sort of ritual to some degree. Whatever that is, that's your business. But the people actually come out there and they start praying. And apparently this works into some sort of conduit in the Black Adam universe with the God and everything. It actually beats the Shazam that laughs. I'm not sure what we should be calling him. Evil Shazam. We'll call him Evil Shazam. And actually beats him. And we actually see that, it's more than just the stadium or the nice parks or the curb, whatever makes curb appeal. We actually see that a nation is developed that even though it's in I definitely don't want to use that word because then people will say things. Let's say it's in a undeveloped world. Okay. Yeah. Where things are a little different. Maybe they're a little stricter for whatever reason that is. That doesn't necessarily mean because they're not like us that they're not worthy of better. Does that make sense? I mean, they have faith and they have trust in each other and they have trust in their leadership, which I found amazing in here. To some degree, there's some fear, but their argument could be made that anybody in a leadership role needs to be feared slightly. Keeps the wildlings at bay. But I like this. I never thought that I would read a comic book and actually be on the side of Black Adam in this. Like, I never thought that. And I generally was. This was awesome. And it's a hard stash for me.
Yeah, this had a lot to do with faith and stuff like that, which I was kind of surprised to see, actually. Comic Mrs. Blaine's jumping here, says Black Adam was great. So I'm trying to figure out though at the end, how did he defeat him?
It had, and again, it's comic book words, right? So whatever the case may be, but Black Adam has a certain amount of faith that's with him as well. That he's connected to his faith. Because he's the superhero thing from the Wizard, right? And because the people came up there and they gave true faith to the God, that became the ultimate salvation.
It says, my people don't pray to invisible sky wizards. They fight with their hearts and souls until morning. So their prayers may draw power from the center of the sun. And so now, was it because the sun had set? Is that why Shazam had turned back into the kid?
No, he got turned back into the kid because the thing that happened. He did it to show that, first off, I can even beat you as the kid. He did that one time.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And then when the energy blast came down and hit him, that was I guess I would call it a rat. Well, that's interesting. Let me think on that.
Because I wasn't sure why he turned back into a kid, and then he couldn't say Shazam again to turn back into the infected Shazam.
So it's like think of it as a okay, let's just say it.
Divine intervention.
Divine intervention with a slight of rapture.
Okay.
Yeah.
It says, Black Adam says, you're just a child. You believe in nothing but yourself, yet you're trapped by the power of prayer. Mm-hmm. So maybe that's what the people of that country are praying for, salvation or help in that time of need. And that's what came down. The higher power came down and changed him into Billy Batson again, not infected. So, and there he's trapped at it. So
the whole thing was the God power, I guess is what we can call it, just kind of transposed him into just being the kid.
Okay.
Transposed, that's a big word. All right, so it made him stay that way. He was not allowed to be not himself.
Well, I mean, I guess if you look at like comics explain, says the prayers made the gods transform him into a kid. So I guess, because he's put the power of Solomon, the strength of Hercules, blah 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 blah, all that stuff. And so I guess maybe if they're praying that he no longer has that power.
Also, Double S makes a good point in there too. There needs to be a Shazam who cries for the DC Black Label books that haven't been good lately. Yeah.
I liked Harleen. That was decent. I don't think it was great.
Like that.
I'm not saying it was the best book in the world. I'm saying out of the Black Label. Well, I don't know. We got Batman Curse of the White Knight's Black Label, and that's been good. But I'm talking about the bigger formatted books. Batman Damned, Superman Year One, Harleen, and then Criminal, or Harley and Joker, Criminal Sanity. The Harleen's been the best one, I think, out of that group.
I buy that. Actually, no, I read it. I didn't like it, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
But yeah, this it's different than what I thought it was going to be. That's for sure. The Black Adam. It's not what I expected out of the book. I expected Black Adam to be the bad guy of the book. I didn't know that it was going to be the infected Shazam. So it was kind of different, which was kind of nice. It's kind of okay. Well, this is not where I thought it was going. So, it was good though.
Yeah, I normally don't expect a Shazam book to go outside of like family references and family psychology and economy. I never, because that's where it placates the best. And then you get this, and you're like, oh my god, it was great.
Comic Explain said, which was Shazam Black Label book. Get really interested between the kid and adult dynamic.
That would be definitely.
Okay, I'm going to talk about another indie book here. I'm going to talk about Chris Relaxing. I am the YouTuber who sarcastically smirks. I'm going to talk about Count Crowley, Reluctant Midnight Monster Hunter. This is by Dark Horse Comics. This is one of 4. It's a miniseries. It's kind of a cool Halloween book, that's for sure. So the whole story is we start out. This is a woman who kind of looks like, Elvira's esque, that goth kind of look. That's her on the cover, and that's what she looks like at the first of this book. She's drinking a fifth of whiskey. She's going running out of this building, and she runs into a guy in the parking lot. He seems almost like a assaulter. He pulls a gun on her, and he ends up giving it to her, asking her to shoot him. And then you see he turns into something, you don't know what it is. And then it has a little backstory. And it says yesterday, so she's this news reporter. She's at this Renaissance fair, and this guy's talking about what great wine they have, this great wine they produce. She actually found out that he's using box wine, and she calls him out on it live, and she ends up getting fired from her newscasting position. But her brother really needs her. He's the head of this, I guess it's a channel. He needs her to fill in for Count Crowley, and so she doesn't want to do it at first, and then she reluctantly does it. And then she dresses up like Elvira and essentially introduces a horror movie. But she doesn't do it like, hey, this is a great movie. She actually does it like what Elvira does. She makes fun of the movie. Like, let's see here. It says, good evening, ghouls. I mean, geeks. All you losers with nothing better to do on a Friday night but sit around and eat pizza, playing D&D, and wishing you had a date tonight. Well, get ready for the worst piece of garbage you ever had seen, your eyes have ever had seen. And so all these people are watching, like, they're kind of upset the way she's doing it, but yet some are liking it. And so they end up getting numerous calls and trying to get her to continue to host the show because Count Crowley's not there. But at the end of the book, we find out that the guy that she ran into in the parking lot, the first book, he's actually a werewolf. And so that's how the book ends. She breaks her fifth of whiskey, party foul. But it was interesting because I'm a big Elvira fan. I like that kind of horror comedy. And I think it fit in good too. It's only 4 issues long, so I'll probably end up trying to get the other 3 issues on it just to finish out that story. So it was good. It was a reluctant stash, but it's a stash for Count Crowley.
Huh. I might have to check it out now. So is it going to be worth millions of dollars?
Oh, it's millions. Millions upon millions. Comics for Slain says, I don't get this. She was behind her on her bills, even though her family owns a TV station. I guess she's an alcoholic. She's never been functional, though. So, yeah, I forgot to mention that, too. Yeah, because her brother was the head of the station, and he's the one that kind of convinced her to step back in and take on that role.
Now, is there anything significant, and maybe somebody might know where I'm going with this, is there anything significant with the name Crowley involved in this comic book?
I don't know. I really don't know. Yeah, I like the art in there, too, because it's the same cover artist that did the interior arts, and it's pretty consistent. Most of the covers are far better, but the art was pretty consistent throughout the book, and I liked it. Yeah, it was good art.
Good deal.
Okay, you're up, Joe.
I got to say words now?
Yep.
Always having to say words. Start charging you by the word. Let's talk about End Show. Or Show's End. I've been drinking. Show's End. Do you like carnivals and creepy stuff going on in carnivals? I cannot talk enough about this book. I swear to God, I can't. I am loving this story. This is great. In this one, our little girl that can turn into a monster has been accepted by the carnival. And now she becomes what is known as a sword walker. By the way, interesting fact, at the start of Coney Island, the sideshow freaks and everything, one of the first shows up there was a blade walker. So somebody's done some homework. And you see all the old school carny gags going on in this thing. The hustle for the cash. They have their own justice and their own punishment. They don't, they try not to get involved with the law too much. Well, they got a little mutant freak kid that decides to start stealing some money. He's about to get chopped up because he looks like a pig. You can imagine what they're going to do to it. She comes up with a great idea to save him, but it actually kind of humiliates him. In other words, it makes the people happy. She was able to sell a bunch of rotten apples by selling them to people and letting them throw them at him, the pig boy. They throw him at Pig Boy. It welts him up pretty bad. Like, I'm not even going to lie. But Pig Boy doesn't have a problem with that. Pig Boy's got a problem with everybody laughing at him. But he's in a sideshow freak, and that's what they do anyway. He's overly sensitive, but that's okay. And in this, we get our Dark Carnival ringmaster. We don't know his name yet, but we find out that he just kind of randomly shows up, and he's a fan, and the carnival is welcomed in for the meal at the end of the show there. I like this because, one, it deals with the stress of running a carnival, and everything's about money. Everything's a hustle in this thing. Like any carnival that you go to, even today. It's all about get that green out of your pocket. Even when you know you're being ripped off, you'll still do it. And they placate to all that in here. We get the girl who finally gets a family. Mimsy, who died a couple issues ago, or not a couple, but last issue. You can still see the pain on the characters in there when something is kind of referenced towards her. This thing plays off of itself so well, and it reads so smooth that I absolutely could just see this being a show on television that would just skyrocket because it is just so meaningful. There's no political agenda behind it. It kind of almost reminds me of the show that was on HBO called Carnival.
Mm-hmm.
It's all mystical and everything. We got some of that stuff going on in here too. I almost see it played that way, but maybe for younger adults, kind of a younger adult version. Come off the HBO script where you show boobs like at least once an episode. Right. Come off of that. and bam, you got something halfway decent. And you can't help but get enthralled in with these characters. I don't know if maybe I'm just reverting back into a child again. I don't know, but I really enjoyed this. So definitely hard stash for me.
Yeah, I've got number one sitting over right behind me, the big old stack of indie books that I've still got to read. So it's been on my list to read. That's because of the Sasquatch. The Half Squatch is in the second book, isn't he? Don't they mention a Half Squatch in that second book?
They did.
definitely got to pick that up. Okay, I want to talk about
real quick in the chat. We've had some people show up. Comics Mix Explained is still talking about wanting to get the next issue for Crowley. Plastic Life. Aleister Crowley creates the Church of Christ. That's not 100% correct. He actually started a sect, which was off the Church of Christ, or the Church of Satan. I'm sorry. But that's what I was kind of going with the name. So that was pretty sharp on his part. That was really good. Double S says he's drinking too. Cheers, brother. I need to catch up with you. Brother, it's not a race. It's the finish. Yes, he did. Definitely. Let's see what else. Uncanny Kyle Waka's in here. It's good to see you, brother. It seems like forever. I'm glad that you're here. And everybody saying hi to him. That's great. It's good to have Kyle Walker. I know in New Zealand, you probably are just getting ready for work or just coming off of work. I don't know. I don't know how time works below the equator. I've been drinking. But cheers. Welcome.
We definitely needed to do that. So I want to talk about Batman Curse the White Knight book 4. So we're dealing with the aftermath of Gordon's death from Azrael from the last issue. They have
dead? I thought he was in a hospital room.
No,
he's not like dead, is he?
I think
it's not a morgue that he's in. I was confused by that.
I thought he was maybe I'm mistaken, but I thought he was dead. Okay, well, whatever. Dead, severely wounded, potentially on his deathbed, knocking on heaven's door.
I like it.
Whatever other analogies for close to death you may have. I do like. There's some emotional stuff going on in this book that really kind of got me. So the first page here, he's talking to young Barbara Gordon. She's talking about being a kid and being kind of bullied by this other boy in class, and And you asked her, did somebody hurt you? She said a boy in the playground pushed when he tried to. She pushed a boy in the playground when he tried to kiss her, and he's explaining to her, but he pushed back and I fell. My lip was bleeding. He said, "Did you tell the teacher?" Said no. Said, listen to me. Next time someone hurts you, I want you to hurt them back harder. And that's what we all want for, especially a little girl. We don't want our little girls hurt. He said, I don't want you to tell your mom this because I want her to still have this image of you being this little princess. So this is between you and I, but I want you to push back harder if somebody starts to bully you. That was kind of a touching moment, I think, with little girl. And then we go into Gordon on the operating bed. I said maybe knock on heaven's door, maybe dead already. We get to kind of reveal a Batman there, kind of embracing Gordon. Kind of very emotional thing of that. And then we have Barbara freaking out because her dad's in there. Doesn't want to talk to Dick. I think Dick Grayson. And she's going for revenge. That's all that's on her mind right now. She's emotional. She just wants revenge, and she's going after it. She doesn't care if she's gonna get killed or whatever. And then we get this another reveal of Batman kind of showing that emotional side again with oh god, Doctor. It's who is it? Leslie. And he kind of falls to his knees. He's talking, concerned about his friend essentially dying, So just some emotional stuff in here. And he's checking on Harley, make sure she's doing good. And then we get another little flashback with Gordon and the history of the two, Azrael and Batman, their families, the Waynes and the what's the other family's name? The I don't want to say the DuPonts. But
the Saint Dumas is the name of the order. Yeah.
Okay. So
family. There you go.
Back history on them, and they're kind of fighting between the two. And then we get a great fight between Batman and Azrael toward the end there because again, Barbara's nothing but playing on emotion. She's getting herself in a situation where I don't know if she got her back broken similar to what Bane did to.
I saw Batman. That too. I'm curious about that. I wonder if they broke her back. Yeah.
And she's already had issues with her back or paralyzed if that Killing Joke is part of this continuity or not. But definitely a good book. Emotional pages in there, some good action. Definitely a stash. And this is continuing to be a great story.
Is it my turn?
Yes, you're up.
Let me get a sip of this real quick.
Sip of your libations. No,
this is what we call Daddy's medicine in our house.
Oh.
Yeah. So, Batman White Knight. This is such a good story. It plays off anything and everything you could possibly. Look, if somebody was like, "Well, I don't like Batman: Curse of the White Knight," blah, 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 I'm like, this. Then you just need to stop reading. Anything you could possibly want in a comic book is being laid out to you in a buffet of beautifulness. I can't describe it any other way than that. You got modern action. You got Batman actually being Batman. King, take a hint. You got,
yeah.
You get rage. You get pain, you get loss, you get the effects of it all. Like, it's one thing for a character to, like, get hurt and everybody go fight the good fight. Who's going to do that? Like, legitimately, if something happened to my daughter or my wife or, let's say the guy I meet at 7-Eleven every single day, right? I'm going to want to get involved. Like, I'm not an aggressive guy, but I'm going to want to know what's going on. And this, we get that, right? I dug that whole beautiful thing right there at the beginning with Barbara Gordon and Gordon in the car. I totally related to that. Like, my daughter, I'm a father, believe it or not. I've actually given birth. Well, I didn't give birth, my wife did, but I assisted, kind of. Well, I did the fun stuff.
Yeah, you did the free stuff. You did the stuff that was good.
My daughter grew up on army bases with, like, no-joke soldiers, right? And like, she knows, these kids are going to play rough. You're going to play rough. They're going to push you down. You're going to punch them in the nose. Like, this is our lives on the army days. And it was just great. I remember teaching my daughter this thing you could do with your thumb in somebody's rib cage to drop them down, and I just kept seeing that in the beginning. It was great. Um, I like that Alfred's getting involved in this. We got some more information about how he got that book, and we understand that the Saint Dumas, which we talked about Saint Dumas and who he was, so I'm not going to recap that, but that whole thing and why that thing exists, and we actually got to see him move from like a warrior monk thing to actual priest. I thought that was interesting too. And plus, it's just cool to see Alfred with a sword. I don't know why, but that just seemed to be the most great thing ever that I could possibly see in a comic book. Like, we've seen him with weapons before, and it's just like, really, it's Alfred, right? But for some reason, you put a sword in his hand, it's like, oh, now he looks like he's trouble. So much going on in this book, and like, you can't even call Azazel or Azrazel, or however you want to pronounce it. It's Azazel, by the way. But anyway,
I've always heard of Azrael.
No, it's Azazel. It's named after an angel. One of them in the Book of Enoch. It gets weird. However it's pronounced, it doesn't matter. It depends on where your accent or whatever is. But anyway, you can't even really call him a bad guy in this. Because really, he's just a negative version of Batman in this. Like, he's just prepared, ready, and he feels he's been wronged, and he feels his family's been wronged. Nobody's convinced of it hasn't, and we still get the mystery that, well, maybe his family was wrong. Maybe the Waynes did do something bad there. We'll find out soon enough. I can't wait to read more of this. It's been awesome. Yeah, loving this book.
So, yeah, 2 more issues to go and that run. And then he's also doing, Sean Murphy's doing a, I've missed that cover. I just got cover A.
Yeah.
He's doing a Mr. Freeze book 2. It's a one-shot. That's yeah, that's well, by Sean Murphy, though. I want to give it a shot.
I'll give it a shot.
You're not a Mr. Freeze fan?
Huh?
You're not a Mr. Freeze fan?
When I talk about, I'll make that my next book I talk about.
Oh, you talking about DC or Detective Comics? You go right ahead. You're up.
Is it my turn?
It is your turn.
Okay, well, let's talk about it. I hate to talk Batman back to back, but we'll do it real quick. This was another missed opportunity. I'll be honest with you. And of course, at the end of all these years, the villains, you know, the Doom, the victory for Doom sign's been happening because of what's happening in Justice League. So everything's tied in. This is the year that all the villains are going to be winning. So, yeah, Dr. Freeze, Mr. Freeze, depends on what continuity you want to read. He finally wakes up his wife, and they finally go at it. And come to find out, she's a horrible person. For no reason. Like, she's just a horrible person. Now, in case you didn't know, Mrs. Freeze, we'll just call it, or Fries, right? She actually knew the Waynes, and so did Mr. Freeze. They knew the Waynes, or Bruce Wayne, before this whole thing happened in this particular continuity. That's important to know because she distinctly remembers him as being a charitable person that would give to the ballet and all this other stuff. She says it in here. Those are her words. And she kind of goes through this whole just waking up thing. So she's a person out of time. Think of, to nail this down a little better to my comic book community, think of Captain America waking up, being like, we know that story. All right. So pretty much the same thing has happened to her. Probably not as long, but nevertheless, think about what a cell phone looked like 10 years ago. So she's a person out of time. She immediately jumps right into being okay with a bunch of people dying and even helping them do bad things like that with no recourse. Like she hasn't gone through the steps to be a bad guy or bad gal. Does that make sense? Like,
yeah, because she was a good person going into being frozen. Where's that quick? Where it's like a flip of the switch. All of a sudden, bam! It's bad with no.
I'm cold now, so I'm cold-hearted.
Yeah.
I think it's a cheap ploy. I thought they cheated this. She should have been, and this is going to sound bad, but for story wise, it would have made better sense if they made her a submissive enabler, meaning trying to stop him but not able to, so kind of confiding with him, not jumping right in as a sidekick, but constantly trying to make him better. That would have been a good story to tell. Like that would have touched people on a personal basis. But basically, Doc Freeze has got a free sidekick that knows ballet. That's what we got out of this, and I thought that was kind of cheap. Like you had again, this is one of those opportunities. I would love to be in the idea room when they come up with this stuff, and I'm just like, well, in psychology, if you boop, 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 in philosophy, if you boop, 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 if you kind of play in this round, it will really connect with people. Instead, we just got a random bad guy for no other reason, just for a random bad guy at this point. Which everything we've been told about her at this point pretty much just got destroyed in a couple of panels in this. Apparently, she was a good person. In the last issue, we're constantly hearing how beautiful and good of a person she is. Now she's okay with just killing random people and stealing stuff. I said stuff.
I do one thing. There have been in all the DC titles except for maybe the Black Label stuff. But can we please do away with this freaking 2-page Snickers ad? I'm getting tired of seeing these again.
Hey, there were 2 DC books I read last month, but that was the best story in them.
I don't think I've ever read those. So yeah, I got it, but I haven't read it. I'm so far behind on Detective Comics. It's not even funny. We got maybe time for one more book. Let's talk about. Oh my God. Maybe see. Let me make sure you read it. You did read this book. I only read a little bit into this book. I was so far freaking gone. Maybe because I was so tired, I didn't want to read anymore. Do you know what book I'm talking about?
Maybe.
And I was so confused on what the hell was happening, because maybe it's the formation of a new world. I have no clue. Immortal Hulk number 25.
Yeah, I knew that's where you were going.
I unfortunately did not finish this book. It's a double-sized book, but I was really freaking lost.
I read it 3 times, and I think I figured it out.
Okay, well, can you enlighten me a little bit? Because I was like, do I skip forward to the part when it shows the Hulk and then go forward from there, or am I going to be too lost on what was going on?
Even when I did my short review and synopsis of this book, I read it again after. You sure you want me to start with this? You don't want to start with this?
I didn't read. I didn't get past like 5 pages, and I'm like, what in the is going on?
Okay, so
maybe Joe can help me because I am so lost with it. I don't want to read anymore.
What we have, and I'm going out on a limb. There's a good chance the next issue I could be wrong. I think what we have, by the way, how is this 1 in 25 variant?
That's a pretty cool book.
I know you're jealous out there. It's okay. I think what we're doing here is we're playing with perspective. And I'm going to show some panels to kind of show my point. I don't think we're dealing with aliens in a universe in the way that size is like us. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because of this panel right here, I want you to take a look. Right? The great bug that they were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, I think our little aliens that are running around here are actually some sort of bacterium. Because if we look at this panel right here, right, with the bug, and then you skip to the last page of the comic, not the last page of the comic book, and we look at the leader, look what's on the operating table.
Okay.
Does this make sense so far?
Yeah.
All right. So what I think we're ultimately doing is we're seeing what the bacterium, and remind you, universes are infinite and non-existent at the same time. I actually had to look this up online. It's very confusing. So if think of the Ant-Man when he shrinks into the quantum zone,
realm,
right? Or quantum realm, right? That's a universe there, right? So something like the Hulk would look like something that could grab worlds and crush it and all this other stuff. Maybe they took a longabout route of describing that as a world breaker, that he's a world breaker as of what he is now in the physical form, what it looks like in that realm. I think they tried to get really deep. Now, I'm not justifying the comic book. They did a very horrible job describing this. You should always leave hints that you could refer to if you're going to make an aha moment. And the only aha moment I could actually find was the connection of the two bugs. That's all I found. So other than that, because we know the Hulk's not this big yet, they did kind of trail off on the last issue where they kind of hinted at some sort of Galactus type event happening, but I think maybe it was done from a perspective of everything else being super tiny and the Hulk being normal sized. And the only reason why I say that, again, I'm just using context clues at this point, is because if we look at I thought they had a cover picture. Oh, also, if you look at the stone that's holding there, the thing that's glowing in the middle of it is our little tiny person that we saw at the beginning of the comic book, or alien we saw at the beginning of the book.
Oh, on top of the stone.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's why I'm thinking it's kind of a play off perspectives, and I could have sworn maybe it was a solicitation. No, it's in here. For the next cover, it seems like everything's pretty much going back to normal. The world breaking Hulk. So I think they kind of played a little trick, and it sometimes happens where they were kind of playing with perspective of what a world breaker would look like if everything stayed the same, but you looked at it from a much tinier perspective. Does that make sense? Like,
yeah, it was.
Maybe.
I mean, we talked about this whole run on Hulk. It's been a little deeper comic than just Hulk smash. That's for sure.
Yeah,
There's a lot of stuff going on in here. And for me, this was almost too extreme of what was going on because I was a hard time following it. Like I said, I didn't get even up to the part with the Hulk was actually in it, where I was
that's a rough one, yeah.
Totally done with it at that point.
It's a rough read. There's no doubt about that.
Give me the Hulk fighting Abomination. I'm a simple guy.
I tell you what, though, at the end there, and then I know I spoiled it for you with the leader at the end, but
no, it's fine.
But we're going to get back into that because now we have the leader involved, and you know the leader. I always like the leader as far as a villain goes against the Hulk because you know he's intelligent, he's smart, he's just got wrong directive, and the Hulk is kind of primitive. And now we're dealing with all these different types of Hulks, if you will, all kind of. We got the Devil one that they call him. We got Joe Fix-It. We have a lot of different Hulks, and then now we got the leader. So the leader has to step up his game. What is the leader going to bring to it? I'm hoping they really bring the most sadistic thing yet. And I think also in that comic book, if you look at you saw the front where they usually do the quote.
Yeah.
You go back near the end, they do another one, but it's completely written backwards.
I saw that. Yeah.
I think that was taken back to support it's about perception. Because it doesn't look like the same quote. Actually, you actually have to read it backwards.
Oh, it is the same quote from the first of the book to the back? Oh,
well,
written back.
I'm sorry. It's not the exact same quote, but it's the same context.
Oh, gotcha.
They're saying the same thing.
Yeah, you know, I'm reading through this here. It says, outside, the breaker of worlds looks to the Homestar, and that array of meat pistons jutting from its body stir and writhe. Scale is meaningless to it and will be as large as it must. So, wow, it's just It's crazy. Yeah, I'm looking forward to going back to a little. I mean, like I said, I don't want to have a little bit of a deeper Hulk where we have, okay, there's a little more of a backstory to it there. But good God, that was hard. That was really hard for me to even. And I probably was super tired right before I went to bed. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna read a book.
That's not the time to read this book. Yeah, this one was gonna be
So, because I didn't get through it, I'm sure there's like I said more deeper meaning, and maybe the next book will have a little more revelation to go. Oh, okay,
dude.
Maybe
why did you recommend that one if you didn't read it?
I didn't recommend that one.
I mean, not recommend it, but you picked that one to talk about next. Pick something you haven't. Pick something you've read.
No, reason I wanted to bring it up is because I wanted your perspective on it to maybe help me understand what the hell was going on in that damn book. That's why I thought I'd bring it up as the last one. But that's it. We are now just over an hour. We go to lightning round unless you want to talk about another book. You there? You're frozen. Oh, I lost. There you are, Joe. You're frozen for a good while. You're just smiling into the camera like a mannequin.
I was like, what?
So yeah, we are up to an hour. So if you want to do a lightning round, we can go through lightning round.
I got a lot, man. You sure you don't want to go through a lightning round first?
No, I can't. I can go to lightning round first.
Yeah, I got a lot.
Middlewest number 12. We have Abel and forgot his friend's name. They're at this farm.
Did you read that?
Yeah, I read this. Yeah,
this is so good.
Comment says he had to take a nap after 2 pages. Was cool though of the whole. So we have Abel essentially kidnapped on this farm. I mean, if I look at it, if I'm thinking of Oregon, they're working in the pot fields, pulling. That's what it made me think of. Fields and fields of this stuff. And here in Southern Oregon, you go anywhere in the outside of the city, rows and rows of pot plants, and they're processing and picking, and I don't know the whole process when it comes to hemp and pot.
Sure you don't.
No, I don't, man. So that's what it kind of reminds me of the Oregon landscape with the pot, but they're there to process and pull stuff. It's pretty violent, take a violent turn, and here one of the kids tried to run away, and he ends up getting killed. So that's kind of a different perspective on it. King Thor number 2. This is pretty good. Jason Aaron's on this run. It's a pretty good book. I definitely enjoyed it. We get the battle of Thor, Loki, and Gore the Butcher. We think that Loki has summoned Gore for one particular reason, but no, it's not. So it's definitely been a good book. This is actually about 3 months old. Since I didn't have very many at the one store, he said, "Hey, why don't you pick up this book? This is one of my favorite books." And that is Resonant by Vault Comics. We don't have a whole lot. We don't know a whole lot what's going on yet. This is a post-apocalyptic story. We know there's this family, dad and 3 kids, a daughter and 2 boys. They use these bugs that's on the front of there to tell when not an earthquake, but something that I forgot what it's called. It comes through, and that kind of gives them a heads up, and they know to be able to stop and meditate so they can survive that thing. So it was
good or bad. You blast her a stash of that because that sounds stupid.
I don't know enough from it yet. I think I want to read issue 2 to get an understanding on it.
Fair enough.
Because it didn't tell me exactly what happened or what the post-apocalyptic event was that got him there. Justice League Dark number 16. Haven't read that yet, but I've been enjoying Justice League Dark. What you said? Is it good? So good. Batman, Superman. A little bit of holodeck stuff going on in here. They infect Superman, but they think he releases the Batman who laughs, but it's all fake. But the Batman who laughs knows it, kind of thing. He knew that they were going to do that kind of thing, almost like Batman. I've known all along.
But that Blue Beetle.
Oh, that's right. He's at the end of that book. Contagion number 4. They've been on my pull list, so I said, "Yeah, fine."
You need to give that dude a call and tell him to stop putting that in your pull.
I ordered it though. I thought it would be good.
Just call him and be like, "Take it off." Take it off.
I think this one came out this week. This is the facsimile of Incredible Hulk #1. I picked up that guy. And I picked up the Amazing Fantasy 15 facsimile. And I got this mainly. This is a spec book, and that is Batman Beyond #37, the first appearance of Batwoman or Batgirl Beyond. So picked up that book. That's going for right around $15 last time I checked. So those are my books I got this week.
Look at you out there specking like a big dog.
I'm specking.
All right, so I have an unusually long flash round because I did buy a lot of comic books this week.
Yeah, I'm looking at the list of what I haven't crossed off yet, and I'm like, holy crap.
Plus, I went to a Comic-Con today. I am going to run through that and give a shout-out to some of the artists that we met out there, so bear with us. And if you're catching this on the rewind, definitely check some of these people out. So let's start with DC. But yeah, I picked this up too. That holodeck and mind trick stuff, I hate that stuff. I think that's cheap shortcuts, but I did like the fact that Blue Beetle is infected in this, and I liked his little sneaky plan in getting into Superman's home. So yeah, that was okay, but I hate that. Oh, it was really in this. It was legitimately a holodeck. Like it was. I was like, oh my god, I hate you people. But overall, good book. I did like this. Although I did find it funny that they did the exact same plan that Batman did with Superman in this one. Like, I'm going to inject myself, but I'll be able to sustain for a while. It was like, you just told the same story.
Kryptonian biology.
Yeah, because he's an alien. Okay, whatever. But I did like the Blue Beetle in this. I thought that was awesome that they infected him and he's a bad guy now. So that's definitely a hard stash. Freedom Fighters. If you don't like Freedom Fighters, screw you, you Nazi. This is awesome. In this, we find out Detroit gets freed. It makes a lot of noise. If you don't know, they're in an alternate universe where the Nazis, or Ratsies as they call them, kind of took over the U.S. So in this, and America technically died. So Uncle Sam is a superhero in this, didn't really survive. He gets resurrected, and he needs people to feel patriotic in order to be a superhero. In this dude, let's just put it this way, World War II too soon. Daddy's dropping bombs in this, and it was huge. Moving on, Justice League Dark. I found this probably to be the more weaker of the issues I've read yet, although I do believe it's relevant because we find out that somebody, I don't want to ruin it, has taken over Wonder Woman's body. She's been what do you call it when a spirit takes your body? Possessed. She's possessed by another person, and so that's going to cause some trouble. I don't normally like that in comic book writing either. I think that's just a cheap in to cause trouble, and usually it's very predictable. But Bobo the chimp detective is drinking whiskey in this, so I'll buy that all day long. Let's see here. Middlewest. Oh my god, I love Middlewest. I can't say enough about Middlewest, and it looks like we're finally getting a team together of senior citizens, a fox and a robot, but regardless, it's a team. What I found most interesting about this is that, one, Abel is starting to learn to control his powers. He legitimately has a reason to lose his mind right now and become a storm. And then we find out that Dad really does care about Son, and he legitimately turns into a storm to go save his son. So we've been seeing it the other way throughout this. So I found that very interesting, that people change, and they can change given the right circumstances, and especially existential threat. So I probably connected with this more than I should have, because I like to see that kind of stuff happen, not only with people, but in storytelling. So that was kind of a big deal.
That kind of had a dark moment too, when that one kid tried to escape and they blasted and killed him, and that was something we had not seen.
Yeah, we haven't actually seen a body. Well, we saw bodies drop from the storm, but we never seen outright murder. Outright murder.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, it legitimately made the bad guy scary. Like, I'll just say it. It made him scary. He's cool with dropping kids. That's scary. Sharky. This is number 6. This is the last of the series. If you don't know, this is going to be on Netflix, and I have 1 through 6, so I'm pretty much going to be a millionaire once this hits on Netflix. I'm joking. It's not. It's a very typical story. In this, it ends in a very typical way. There's a character in here named Extra Billy. I love that name, by the way. He's a kid. Sharky ends up adopting him. They're running a bounty hunting business together. Stupid fun. Just stupid fun. Let's see here. Second Coming. Okay, again, a more satirical look at religion. All right, and I can get that to some degree. I can get why people are speculative over religion, especially after reading this issue where Jesus is like, he's reading the Bible and he was like, I don't even remember people taking notes when I would speak. I don't know where this is coming from. Yes, I did these. Who is the author of this? Like, he doesn't know any of these people. I found that to be interesting. I get how some people on the religious side can be a little upset at this. I get that. But on the other side, if you can't criticize your own medium, then you probably really don't believe in it. Like, you should always be able to ask questions in the things that you believe in. But I liked this. Mostly for its humor, if nothing else. And I will say that's probably the slower of the 2 issues that have come out, or 3 issues that come out yet. You're Obsolete is just basically saying that if you're 40 years old, you're pretty much out of date, and some 12-year-old girl that looks like Wednesday Addams is probably smarter than you. Tommy Gun Wizards. This is good. Like, this is legit. This one did kind of cheat me a little bit. These are called the Black Coats. They showed up for like a couple of panels, and they played them up a lot in it, and they kind of let me down with what they could do. But I liked the way that they were destroyed. Alien Ness's wife wiped them away because she took some of the magic. They call it lick in here. I didn't want to get involved in that. Somebody finally on my channel decided to make the reference between licking a frog, because it's a toad that has all the magic, and the lick that they take, they calling it lick in here. They finally made that connection. I was so proud of that person. I've been holding on to that joke forever, and they finally did. So kudos to you. But overall, I'm really liking this. I like alternative type stories based off history. That's always fun. Let's see here. Amazing Spider-Man. There's a lot. There's too much. I know this is going to sound bad for a Spider-Man book, but there's just too much in this issue and too much overall in the stories that they're dealing with right now. We got this Kindred guy. We got the Carnage stuff. We got Mary Jane going away. We got Peter Parker dealing with his everyday freaking issues. And then you throw Spider-Man 2099 on top of it. It's getting really hard to follow at this point. I don't know. I want to know about Kindred. Everybody else is talking about Spider-Man 2099. Look, if you want a Spider-Man 2099 book, I'll tell you right now, the book's not going anywhere. I'll give it to you. If you pay for shipping, I will ship you the book. I have 3 of them. Avengers number 25. Thank goodness this issue finally happened. I couldn't be more happy. Because maybe this Robbie Reyes guy will stop whining all the time and actually step up and be a superhero instead of complaining about being a ghostwriter all the time. It was
a good issue.
He finally won the race. Now, mind you, he couldn't do it on his own because, well, he's weak. Real quick, I just want to go over my haul from Hampton so I don't have to make a video on my own channel. I'm just going to use yours.
Go right ahead.
All right, so we have a publisher here in the Hampton Roads area over in Portsmouth, and they gave me their books today, and they're just gracious guys. They recognized me in Spectacular Spider Grandpa and gave us a huge high five, and were very generous to us. I've read their books. I've reviewed them on this show, plus my own. I have not had the opportunity to review these yet, but I will. This is Delta Dogs. Now, the first 3 issues of this, I read them, and I'm absolutely in love with these characters. This is good storytelling. They're taking a very different approach. They're not telling you directly what their superpowers are. You have to kind of figure it out. And even if you go to the con and they're there and you figured out one of their superpowers, or you can describe one of their superpowers and how it actually works, they'll give you a free print. I got 2 free prints today because 2 of them I was able to figure out. So yeah, they're really good, and they use local area things in Virginia, so automatically I'm on board with that. And yes, it is taken from a different cultural advantage, and I'll be honest with you that it's taken from the cultural advantage where the dialogue is solid in it. I flipped through one of them today to make sure they didn't change anything, and I'm telling you, these cats, this is good stuff. And by the way, this is by Millennium Comics. Again, I'll do one on my Facebook page. Definitely check it out. Or not Facebook, I'm sorry, my YouTube channel. And I'll check that out for you guys. We'll read them and we'll haul through them. Another one I got was Tales of the Cloud Ocean. I kind of flipped through this. I'm not a big fan of this kind of art style, but this is a pretty interesting story. More of the lone warrior type of thing. Another artist here in Virginia is this one's just done by a place called Comics, apparently. It's called Slapstick, and it's just that the art's a very slapstick style. Kind of reminded me of Casey Jones from Turtles, but it's not him. Let me be clear on that. And he was nice enough to draw me a little picture and sign it for me as well. And we saw a friend of Midwest Comic Guy today and found out that he actually lives over in Virginia Beach. Like, they knew each other. I'm gonna butcher this name. Although this is a one, and oh no, I'm sorry. There's only 150 copies of this book. Nira. How would you say that?
I'd say Naira Reborn.
Naira? That's what I thought too. I have not had a chance to read this yet, but because he's a friend of Midwest Comics Guy, and once we found out he was, I was like, so what's the best comic book you had? And he's like, well, I got this, only 150. I was like, good enough. What do you need? So he was cool enough to sell that to me. And for my spec books my spec books for this month, and you all saw the trailer drop. Yeah, that happened. And then that happened right behind it.
Oh, I have that one, First Ninjak.
Yeah. And I got these at $8, and surprisingly I got this one at $8 too. So apparently out in the market, these are still in the wild, and I know I've seen some rye out there as well. So there's your spec for the week. I'm going to be honest with you. I watched the trailer, rewatched it. I think it's an action movie. Groundhog's Day is the best way I could do it.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
The target that changes the situation, so it's not.
You freeze again, Joe?
I don't know. Did I?
Yeah, you're freezing a little bit.
Oh.
You said the target's changing.
If the target changes, then the situation changes. So him waking up and going through the first 3 minutes of the same thing, but the target's always a different. So it's not going to be Groundhog's Day, but close enough.
Yeah, I watched the trailer a few times, and I thought, man, I'll take a look at it. Never have been much of a Bloodshot fan. Never read any of the books back in the 90s.
Oh, you didn't? Oh, man.
No, I did not. I never have been a Valiant fan. I don't think I bought any of the books of Valiant back in the 90s. That one with the First Ninjak, I picked up. I may have 2 of them. One I picked up for $1. It was at some random freaking store.
Yeah, there was a time where you would go through a long box and you would find it was like Torok. How many rides would you find?
Yeah,
it was ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, you still can find those probably for $1 around other places too. I mean, again, they probably have quite a few. Comics. Mrs. Bland said, "I want to read Lemire Bloodshot."
Oh yeah.
Okay, now that's our books for the week. I picked up a couple books. I want to show one. I was super happy to find this. So this one store that I go to, it's more of a flea market pawn shop thing. So everybody has these little booths. And there's one that I go to that they always have the books that are 50 cents a piece. And I picked up some decent books. I picked up the whole run of Crisis on Infinite Earths. I picked up the cameo of Apocalypse there for 50 cents. So all their books are 50 cents. So every few weeks I run in there and go check out and see what they have. And I found these Superman adventure books. They were 50 cents a piece. Unfortunately, I didn't get the first Live Wire, but I got some Superman adventure books. Just because I love the Batman adventure books. These are same kind of art style. So and plus I have my 6 foot tall Batman based off that same character right over there. But I did pick up this one was in there for 50 cents. That's Superman number 192 for 50 cents. It's a little beat up, but if I'm going to pass up a Silver Age Superman book for 50 cents, I mean, it looks like it's in pretty good shape, but the spine's definitely got some issues, and it's got a coupon cut out of it. That's probably why it wasn't a 50-cent bin, but I'll pay 50 cents for a Silver Age comic any day. So, even though I'm not a big Superman fan. And I picked up this book just because of his name is Wayne, Bruce Wayne. So I had to pick up that stupid book. But enough about the books that I picked up. Let's talk about the books you can pick up from being a Patreon member. So this is the Patreon book of the month. We'll draw the winner. See, I think it'll be next Sunday. Next Sunday will be the 3rd of November. So we'll end up drawing the winner now. So you still have until next Sunday to get entered into Patreon book of the month. And $1 gets you 1, 2 gets you 2, and 3 gets you 3.
And here's what I'll do to even make it better, because I am a Patreon member myself. Before I even know what the book is, if my name pops up number 2 right below it, you'll get the book. So that's possibly 2 opportunities you have to get that book.
And that is Greg Horn's Black Cat number 1. Let me pull it back here.
Never mind. I'll take that. No, I'm joking. It's fine.
So that's the book that we're giving away this month. So to join our Patreon, we have links all over our Facebook as well. I don't know if I have one in the description here. You can look up Blasted or Stashed on Patreon and definitely find it. So like I said, $1 a month will get you an entry into the comic book of the month. And I'll also been giving away other books too, like the Superman Year One. He gave all 3 of those away to Kirby. He got those. So every once in a while, maybe throw something else in there too, just for being a Patreon member. Help support us, the channel, and the stuff that we spend on the software for this. And most of the money actually goes to the books that you guys get. So a piece of art for you.
Yep. Pick that up. I'm doing this thing where I'm getting myself done as a bunch of villains. I don't think that looks like me.
Mouth's a little big, but
look at the chin. Look at this. If you turn it this way, it looks like Roosevelt.
Or Ollie.
Right?
What's the one in the back? Do you show the one in the back too?
Oh, no, I don't think I've said that. So our friend that we brought up to Baltimore Comic-Con with us, Daniel Montoya, you'll see he's on Instagram right now. He did that as a thank you for bringing him. And I don't have an ego, but oh my God, that's me. So, yeah.
So go check us out on Facebook, on Twitter, on Patreon. Go check out our podcast where we take the audio from this show and listen to it again. Definitely go and listen to it on the go. I've said it numerous times. My wife and I are recording the one for Saga and getting it posted here. I think this weekend. That's the plan to do it because we just got back from our trip and we were talking about, hey, we need to get this done. So we're going to get that second episode recorded and get that up as well. So I think you still got time. Maybe that auction's still going over to Comic Core if you want to go check out and go get some books and help support Paul and his family, his daughter's name's Moira. She's had surgery, and family's definitely needing help, helping some money to get through this tough time. So go check out over there. Go get some good books for a good cause.
And we also put it in the chat room for all you fine folks out there. I'll tell you what, I'll go ahead and make the challenge right now. I dare you to take just a peek at it. Clicking the link doesn't mean you donate any money. Look at the pictures of that young girl in there and how tough she is. And she's a beautiful little girl. And I dare you to sit there and go, no, I don't want to support this. Like, I legitimately dare you. Good luck.
Okay, so we're going to wrap it up. Whether you blast it with us, Ash, happy reading. And we'll catch you guys this Wednesday, comic book rewind. So we're going to review some horror comic books or Halloween themed comic books and talk about our top five or horror scary movies that we like to watch. So go check us out same time, 7 p.m., 10 Eastern on the Blasted or Stash It show. Later, guys.